Okay, here we go. This is the Subject Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. You can't judge a book by its cover, and everyone has a story. And that's what this podcast is about. I was born disabled, been in a wheelchair since I was young, under the age of 10. And I actually recently lost my sight about a year or so ago. And so I want to help people, and I've been through a lot, and everybody has. And you wouldn't know what someone has been through unless you actually sat and talked to them and had the time. And it's interesting, everybody's stories and just how real it is. You know, be real. That's that saying, be fake. Yeah. So if you want to be on the podcast, or if you have anything you want us to talk about, because I have guests sometimes as well. Sometimes I'll do video, sometimes audio. Sometimes I'm going to be talking about myself and stuff I've been through, and just uh, things like entertainment, like sports, movies, music, so, metaphysical and spiritual, paranormal, supernatural, pretty much all topics. No judgment here. We're just going to come on and talk about stuff. And even catfish. Uh, Too real. Catfish, too real for TV. True catfish, I should say. True catfish stories. Too real for TV. I want those as well. And I have some I'll talk about in other episodes here. This is number 3 now. We're actually on YouTube and Facebook. I'm on YouTube and TikTok under Harold Sullivan 78. And Facebook is Harold Sullivan period 35. And also I'm empathic and like I said, into paranormal stuff. And if anybody else is into that, you can message me or give me a ring on Facebook. I have this set up so I can answer calls with my voice and I can call out. So, and I'm starting to do readings and stuff like that for free, no charge. So hit me up if you're into that. Message me. And so a few things about last episode, and then we'll get into some new stuff. Um, Last episode I talked about when I lost my sight a little bit, and I mentioned most of those things, but I forgot to, which I don't know how I could forget, but glaucoma as well. So I ended up, when I lost my right eye, I had glaucoma, cataract, uh, retinal vein occlusion, macular edema. That's the 4 major ones. And then I also had, when I was young, since I was young, I had like uveitis, um, stigmatisms, and then the far sighted or whatever it was where you couldn't see far away sighted. So, and then I wanted to mention also um, when I was talking about smoking and setting myself on fire, that happened when I was older, not when I was young. So it kind of almost might have sounded like uh, it was at the same time because I was jumping back and forth a little. But the fire stuff happened when I was older. So I wanted to mention those 2 things before we get into some other stuff. I also have some more angels, which angel lists I'm doing from time to time. These are people that have passed on that are close to me or that I knew, or just names I'm trying to remember. And it's hard. You can't remember everybody all the time. I mean, you want to, but we'll be together again, and it'll be perfect one day. So, you know what I mean? I appreciate it. And I'm just trying to remember these people and I'll shout out to them. And just like I've been close to death so many times, 30 sometimes, I have that many people that have passed. So, this is actually my first live stream. I'm trying to do this good. So, hopefully, there's a way to hook it to Facebook, link it somehow, or just top of the thing. I don't know. My sister's helping me. My one sister who I live with, and she's been helping me a lot off and on since I was little. Bless her. She doesn't know how to use any of this stuff, and I just became blind, so trying to teach her, and she's helping me. So I'm trying to help people get their stories out, get my stories out. So the list, some people I didn't mention last time. Randy was a friend that I went to school with when I was really young, and I think he died at a young age. He had complications. Um, Randy Anthony, I played street hockey with. He was very young as well when he passed away, maybe in his 20s, and this was just a few years ago. And then we have Ashley, who was a girl who used to help me at Giant Eagle. She used to work hot foods and cut up my food when I used to catch the bus out there and get lunch. And she used to help me, feel more independent because she she'd take my order, or she would come around the counter and ask me what I wanted and tell me what was in the case because I was too short to see it. I'm only about 4.5 feet tall here in this little wheelchair. It's a small size kid's wheelchair. Actually, I'm about 75 pounds maybe. But she overdosed here just a few years ago. And didn't even know she had problems. I mean, he wouldn't know that. How would you know? But someone told me. And she was very young and had kids too. She maybe was only in her 30s. And then Mama Jones, I believe she's passed away. If she's not, God bless her heart, still even more, well, not even more, but still, uh, God bless her, period. But whenever I was young, my dad used to take me, he used to play bluegrass, he used to play harmonica and banjo, and then that's where I learned to play music a little bit. I used to play piano, harmonica, keyboard, stuff after that. And I was really young, maybe under the age of 10, 7, 8 years old, or younger. And we used to go out, and there was a lady named Mama Jones, and we used to visit her. She was older then, so if she's alive now, she's got to be 100, maybe 90, some 100, probably more than that. So I'm assuming she's passed. But when I was young, I used to love going there with my dad. And they would just sing music, and we would just have food, cook out. My dad was seeing a woman then at that time, a couple of years after my mom and him got divorced. But he always called like a lady friend, and he only had maybe two or three of them after that. My mom, same thing, after they got divorced. They only had maybe went out a couple dates, and they both got married once. And that was it afterwards. So if you think about that, but yeah, Mama Jones, and then we actually have a Chuck and two Chuckies, and then we have a two Joes. We have one I went to high school with. Another one was actually a friend of mine. And when I moved to Ambridge, who was met through Randy and Norman and Greg, who I'll talk about in a future podcast that I'm in Ambridge. So that's semi sad or stuff, but let's get into some more entertainment. How about entertainment and some other things here? So I'd have checked out a few new release movies recently, just listening to them, of course. But I'm starting to be able to pick up and see almost in my mind what's going on without, when there's certain scenes that have no music or dialogue, or just it's hard to find to follow it. But I'm starting to pick it up, which is making it more entertainment because I lost my sight about a year, 3 months, about 15 months ago here in the right eye after I lost it in the left like 3 or 4 years before that. And they still don't know what happened to the left eye. And I'm still not even sure what happened to the right eye. You know what I mean? So, but 13 doctors, yeah, and then back and forth and over 2 year period. Uh, but I'm starting to be able to see. Like, I didn't want to watch movies or listen to them for a while because I'm like, how am I going to do a movie? But recently, let's see. Well, I'll go back to one of the first ones. The new Candyman was really good. I liked it. Candyman 4 or whatever. I don't know what it's called, but they just called it Candyman / remake. And I can actually follow it even without the gore and seeing stuff. It was really good. It was pretty good. Oh, and I appreciate any feedback. If you just have chats, I can't see. Like I said, I'm blind, but I can get someone to try to read me stuff later. I got scoliosis here on the side too, and like I said, I got problems, and I've been through all them surgeries and all this shit. But and my leg's actually starting to hurt. My right leg, because I sit pretty much all day in this wheelchair. So, but yeah, leave me feedback, and I said, message me or have me on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever, all that. Facebook is Harold Sullivan, period 35. And then YouTube and TikTok is Harold Sullivan 78. And I have paranormal documentaries I've done on there in the past, and on YouTube. I've done some music that I have on there and TikTok, and just funny videos. And now I'm more serious. I want to help people, like I said. If you just want to come on and talk about life, you know, we can do that. And I appreciate sharing the podcast as well, and sharing any of my stuff at all, just to help me get out and do what my purpose. And everybody has a purpose and a reason to be here. There's no accidents. There's no coincidence. No matter who you believe in or what your religion or higher power, you know, I've awakened to come online to realize a lot of things, and I want to help people with that, what I've been through. And over on it, I've been over on it. And I have been on the internet for over 25 years since I first got a computer, like late 90s. So I know a lot about what goes on there, and I want to use to help. I want to do good now. So the Candyman, yeah, was really good and good story, and I could follow it, and I liked the good acting, and just a little bit about the movie without ruining it. Um, there's a man, I think he's a writer, I believe, and he goes back to where this Candyman supposedly was, and everybody thinks it's fake, and this girl had killed people and blamed it on this um, urban legend, basically, which is a good story. And so it goes from there. He goes to investigate it. So, and then after that, see, recently I did The Return to Oz, which is a movie from the early 80s, mid 80s. It's a sequel to the original, to The Wizard of Oz, pretty much. And it has a girl, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she was in The Craft, and it wasn't Neve Campbell. She was in The Water Boy too, but she played the young Dorothy, and there wasn't singing or anything really. It was more darker this one, and yeah, it was like the effects and stuff were really good, I guess, for at the time. But a lot of people don't know about it. But it's called Return to Oz, and Dorothy goes back and has another adventure. I don't want to ruin, uh, what happens there. But I recommend it if you're a Wizard of Oz fan or any of them kind of movies, fantasy, uh, and stuff like that. Also, see what did Return to Oz. I've gotten a couple of new movies I've checked out lately. Uh, the other day, well, recently, see what was the first one? The new Ghostbusters. Finally, I got after it was delayed how long, then it came out, but it was really good, and I believe they did it. They dedicated it to Harold Ramis, uh, who had died, and so uh, it kind of affected the movie being made a little bit, but not really, because from what I understand, is Bill Murray didn't want to do Ghostbusters 3 for so many years. Him and Harold Ramis actually got into a fight or something happened a long time ago, and they didn't talk. And that's sad because, yeah, now he passed away, you know what I mean? And they might have stuff that was unsaid. And just don't do that. Don't be that way. I'm not trying to tell people. People die anyway. You know what I mean? If you got something you got to say, or if you did something, or you thought they did something, go and tell them you forgive them, apologize to them, and just no matter what, make it right now. So you have to carry that. So you don't have to carry it with you. You don't have to have it. And you don't have to come back and learn that lesson again. You know what I mean? Just spiritually, it's better just to do good. And we all got the good side and the bad side, the little angel, little demon. And when you listen to the wrong side because you feel it, and you still do it anyway. So it's as simple as just not doing that. Reprogram it. And then I guarantee you'll feel better if you just listen to the good side of stuff. So the Ghostbusters, yeah, was really good. The soundtrack fit right in there. The story was a little different, and the tempo was a little different, but I really enjoyed it. It was just great to have them back again. Uh, see, we got those two. And then I did Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a few days ago. That was really good too. And even without seeing it, I could follow the story and everything. And they brought the characters together, and I appreciated that because I just since what '90s, it's been 30 years almost, and that was one of the first CGI, really good CGI was Jurassic Park. You had Terminator right before that, and you had Who Framed Roger Rabbit before that, but people don't really consider that CGI, but it kind of was. It was one of the first times where they blended animation with live people in the whole movie. So, so we had that one. And then I did Elvis a couple of days ago, the new Elvis, which I've been waiting. It's actually 2 hours and 40 minutes. So uh, a lot of movies I have to do in a couple of parts because I start to fall asleep. I got sleep apnea too. So, and I'll knock out half hour into a movie. So Elvis is really good too. And the guy sounds, I don't know what he looks like, but he sounds like him. And he talks. And the music was just great, the whole soundtrack. Uh, There's a couple little nitpicky parts in there that I can say. I mean, I'll say them now. It's not gonna really ruin anything, but it might bring its attention to you. Tom Hanks plays the colonel, the Elvis guy, the manager or whatever, and it seems to me like he loses his accent a little bit here and there in the movie. But maybe it's just me because I'm using my ears to listen really fine. And then there's a couple parts of the movie where they use like hip hop music from today, and it's like, wait a minute, this don't seem like it. I mean, it's okay; it doesn't really take away from it, but you know. And speaking of that, uh, what's up with these songs? There's like 4 or 5 now on the radio that I like. That one, Hound Dog, uh, the remake. It ain't nothing but a Hound Dog uh, remake. And then there's what is there? There's a Rick, Rick Ross, Rick something from the '80s. Uh, Never gonna live, you know. And there's a guy, Young Gravy, singing that, and he's taking his beat. Like, what is up with it? And I think there's like 2 Elton Johns right now, and then there's a Freak, Super Freaks. Why? What's up with all these beats that people are taking and using now instead of coming up with their own stuff? And I could pick out. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a beat from the '80s. That's a beat from this. That's a rap beat. They took it. I don't know. How about some other songs here too? I have a song list of different songs, and some are inspirational lyrics and just words that you wouldn't think, maybe to listen to. So I'll mention a couple of those here since we're talking about music, uh, which is something I've been listening to for 40, 30 years, my whole life. So let's see here. Well, we got the Beatles, Let It Be. I mean, we got Footloose from the movie, yeah. And then there's a part in there about sometimes if you just don't do anything, things will work out, the lyrics. And that inspired me since I was, on my way to losing my sight over the last year. Well, since I lost my sight, I should say, little things started to inspire me. And like I'm listening to music, and I'm like, wait a minute, that lyric means something. I'm getting things. I'm not afraid by him now. He talks about take my hand and walk this road together. Uh, Skyfall by Adele. Just let the sky fall, let it crumble. We'll stand tall through it all together. Let's see here, Skyfall. We got Gangster's Paradise by Coolio. It says, why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you and me? Uh, I had so many. The One by, I think it's Backstreet Boys. I'll be the one, bring you from darkness to light. It's another one that could be inspirational. And these are songs that when I started to listen to them again or pick them out, it's like, wait a minute, there's some good lyrics in here. It doesn't matter what kind it is, if it's country, rap, hip hop, rock. There's some good. I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe, and I don't want to miss a thing. That's Aerosmith. Uh, that's a more of a romantic song, but these are deep lyrics, and How about some podcasts here? I got some podcasts. I started listening to podcasts. That was one of the first things. I got the Holy Bible, audio Bible first, and I'm actually on the third time. I think I'm about to get the New Testament on and the third time in the Bible, audio Bible. I listen to that every day in the morning for about a half hour at least. And I started listening to podcasts too, so I have a few of those. And a few of them are psychic or have to do with that kind of stuff because that's just what hit me. Like Spirit just found these podcasts. I didn't know. I just started searching for podcasts and then found one and listened to it, and it uh, it resonated with me. And then I just found another, and then that's all you can do. Use your intuition. That is the best gift you have. God gave you the intuition. You have to trust yourself too, because that's hard to do. People don't trust themselves, let alone anyone else. Trust yourself first, because you have a gift. You got all of it. Everything you need, you got. It was given to you. So, and I didn't look at it that way before, but now I do. I got what I need, you know, and you got what you need too. All these other things that you think you need, you don't need. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I mentioned we're all psychic. I mentioned them in the last podcast. We're all psychic. It's two girls who down south, and they believe everybody's psychic. So it's a good catchy name. We're all psychic. And I contacted them before I even started this podcast and said, "Hey, can I be on there and talk to you?" I don't know if she doesn't get the messages or what. She wrote back and said yes, but then she hasn't contacted me again. And it's been a couple of months. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this and help people out. If she wants to come on here or I can come on there, you know what I mean? We'll do it. Uh, I did that on another podcast as well. There's one called A Psychic Story, but she keeps missing lots of time. And so I don't know. I did listen to one called Psychic Radio, a Psychic Spectrum Radio show, but they don't go live anymore on podcast as far as audio, but they do YouTube still. So check them out. It's Skip and Sherrod. And they're an older couple, but they've been together so many years. They're just awesome. I talked to them on the phone, and they gave me a little advice. You know what I mean? They'll talk to you. You know what I mean? But they got more going on now, and they've gotten older, and they just want to. They have to come back a little. They got grandkids and family, and you have to understand that. So I can't really listen to them anymore because I listen to the podcast later on. I don't listen to them live because I have a smart device. So, but we got them, and then we got psychic teachers is another one, which is two teachers, obviously teachers, but and then we have psychic evolution, which is another couple, and we have the paranormal podcast, which is probably the best paranormal podcast. And he started. His name was Jim Harold. He started it back when they were first doing. So it's been like 17 years, and he got that name, and it's I believe he's got 500 or more episodes at least, maybe six, 700. I don't know, but very good, and he has all the best stuff. And then I have a funny one, Tell Him Steve Dave, which is some of the guys from the old show Comic Book Man, and then you have one of the Impractical Jokers, and they get together like once a week and they talk for about an hour, just about random, and it's hilarious. So I have a paranormal one, I got a funny one, and I got a bunch of psychic ones, and sometimes they don't. The psychic ones don't do episodes every week. So those are the podcasts, and then I got some books, audio books, which I'll mention uh, over the last year. I've listened to 102 audio books. Not counting the third time I'm through the Bible. I'm going through the Bible. So some of the top ones I'll mention, of course, the audio Bible, King James Version. Uh, there was one called The Purpose Driven Life, which was a Christian Christian pastor. And these are all available in regular version too, as well as audio. Uh, there's one called The Afterlife Frequency, which helps a lot. It basically breaks down everybody, like everything is energy, and we're our energy, or our soul's energy, and we're energy. And it talks about spirits, ghosts, all that stuff, everything. And that is a very deep book. I recommend that for anybody. Period. There's another one called Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus, which has been around for a while, but it's about relationships. It's about men, women, just people. Period. Earthlings, whatever. Anybody, everybody can listen to it, or read it, and it will help you understand yourself and other people and everybody else. It's a really good one. Let's see here. If you're into paranormal, um, The Day After Roswell is a very good book. It has like 50 years worth of stuff. This guy, this military general, or whatever have you, claims to have all this knowledge, and he gives it to us in this book about Roswell and everything up until like the 90s, whenever he wrote it. So, and then the book that started Ancient Aliens, the TV show, um, Chariots of the Gods, about how they explain that aliens are in the Bible, or they're UFOs, and this and that. I don't want to ruin any of that, or whatever, because people can believe what they want to. But if you want, you can check that out as well. Also, let's see here, Ghostbusters. His daughter, Harold Ramis, I mentioned him. His daughter actually wrote a book about his life and his family and all that. And it's much more than about being a Ghostbuster. That's not even just the tiniest part. And I actually teared up at the end of that. And I think she actually reads the audiobook, so it's very good. It's My Dad the Ghostbuster, Harold Ramis' daughter, or yeah, something like that. Or Daughter of a Ghostbuster, something like that. It's very good. And then let's see, there's one called How to Play the Game of Life and Win. It's kind of like teaches you how to just get by with all the stress and crap that happens in life. Couple of sports. One there's called Michael Jordan: The Life, which is a very good book, and it talks a lot about Jordan, like stuff about him that you didn't know. Even though there's all them documentaries, and I thought I had knew, because I was a big fan of the Bulls and him, and I used to watch all the games on IGN. They used to come on here. We didn't have Pittsburgh doesn't have an NBA team, so we would get Chicago games a lot. And then every movie or every documentary that came out with him, I was always fascinated. So, but this book adds more to it. And then Mark Messier, the Rangers and the Oilers hockey player, has a book called No One Wins Alone, which is very good. It's inspirational. It talks about his 20-something years in the NHL, and a lot of his teammates, and just some cool stories. So I recommend those books there. And then some more movies here. Uh, since I mentioned those ones earlier, I got a couple of lists, like a 5 top movies that shouldn't be remade or have sequels or anything, but of course they already have had sequels or remakes. And they're in no particular order. The Wizard of Oz is the first one. I think it was just beautiful. It was acted well. And Judy Garland and her great singing, and then they had a great soundtrack. It was directed well. It was just a good movie. So then you have that one. Then you have Space Jam. A couple of these are kids movies or sequel kids movies, but again, good soundtrack, good acting, good visuals. Just, I mean, how hard was it for Michael Jordan to act with nothing there that whole time? You know what I mean? With them, they had to add the animated characters in later. So, uh, Nightmare Before Christmas, which is another one, and that actually has it's animated, but it has a good soundtrack. Again, good. It's visually stunning. Good directing and all that. It's written well. And then we have the Blues Brothers, the original Blues Brothers. Good soundtrack again, good acting, good directing. I mean, it was visually as well as it could for what it was, you know. And then we got Raging Bulls, another one, which was black and white. And I had seen all these, but I started losing my sight when I saw Raging Bull. And the acting was so good, I almost couldn't tell it was Pesci and De Niro. But it follows the boxer, Jake LaMotta, I believe was his name. They call him Raging Bull. It doesn't really have much of a soundtrack except for like when he's fighting and stuff. And like there's not really music in the background. It's more of a follow him around his life type. But very good movie. And those are five of movies that I recommend. They're really good. That I don't think could be made better. And then I got a couple ones to go with it on the side, like Halloween '78, and we got They Live with Roddy Piper. They're both John Carpenter movies. And then Artificial Intelligence (AI), which has Haley Joel Osment in it from The Sixth Sense. That little boy. So we'll be back again as soon as I can, and be the light. And remember, love's a choice, and so's to hate.
Mm.